It's 30,000 years ago. You're sleeping peacefully in a cave, wrapped in what is basically a suspiciously itchy animal blanket. And suddenly someone screams, "Wake up! Something with teeth is outside." No alarm clock, no coffee, no 5 more minutes, just pure prehistoric panic. And somehow, despite living in a world filled with giant predators, freezing weather, and zero Wi-Fi, cavemen still had family drama, relationship problems, jealous partners, lazy friends, overprotective parents, and probably at least one guy in every tribe who contributed absolutely nothing but still ate the most mammoth meat. Because here's the funny part, human beings may have evolved, but relationships, those have barely changed at all. Today we're diving into prehistoric love, friendship, parenting, and family life. And honestly, ancient humans were basically us, just smellier. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you might realize your dating life isn't nearly as complicated as trying to flirt while being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. And hey, if you enjoy weird history with comedy, like and subscribe. Let's go. The first thing to understand about prehistoric families is this. They had to stay close together. Not emotionally, literally. Because if little Kevin wandered too far from the cave, little Kevin became wolf food. Family back then wasn't just about love. It was survival. Mom gathered berries, Dad hunted, Grandma probably knew which mushrooms would heal you, and which mushrooms would make you see God. Everyone had a role. Meanwhile, today, entire family arguments happen because someone forgot to unload the dishwasher. Back then, the argument was more like, "Who left the cave open?" Imagine being a prehistoric dad. Your child runs up and says, "Dad, I found a giant furry animal." And instead of saying, "Aw, sweetie, let's take a picture," he says, "Perfect. We eat at dawn." That was parenting. No parenting podcasts. No gentle parenting TikToks. No screen time limits. Their parenting strategy was basically, try not to die. And honestly, it worked pretty well. Kids learned survival skills ridiculously early. A 5-year-old prehistoric child probably knew how to track animals, which berries were poisonous, how to start a fire, and the universal childhood lesson, if it has giant teeth, run. There were no schools. Parents were the education system. Dad was YouTube tutorials. Mom was Google. Grandpa was the comment section full of questionable advice. And despite how brutal life was, there's actually evidence prehistoric humans deeply cared about each other. Archaeologists have discovered skeletons of injured people who survived for years after serious wounds, meaning somebody fed them, protected them, helped them survive. Think about that. In a world where food was hard to find and danger was everywhere, people still took care of the weak. That's not just survival, that's love. Now let's talk about prehistoric friendships. Because if you think modern group projects are stressful, imagine hunting a mammoth with your friends. You can't exactly contribute by saying, "I'll handle emotional support." No, everybody had to pull their weight. Friendship back then was built on trust, real trust. Like, "I trust you not to let the giant woolly murder elephant step on me." That's a serious friendship. And just like today, every tribe absolutely had that guy. You know the one. Everybody else is risking their lives hunting. And he shows up at the end like, "Great teamwork, guys." Sir, you carried one stick. There has always been a freeloader in human society. That's apparently part of evolution, too. Honestly, prehistoric tribes probably invented passive aggression. Imagine sitting around the fire while one guy eats way more meat than everyone else. Nobody says anything directly. They just stare at him like, "Interesting how your hunting skills improve exactly at dinner time." Haha. And don't even get me started on prehistoric competitiveness. Because men have always tried to impress each other in ridiculous ways. Today guys buy sports cars. Back then they probably walked into camp dragging an enormous animal carcass like, "Oh, this? Yeah, I killed it with a rock." Women in the tribe. Wow. Other men. "Oh, brother, here we go again." What about prehistoric romance? Because believe it or not, love existed long before dating apps. Human beings have always flirted. The methods were just slightly different. Today, flirting sounds like, "You up?" Back then, flirting was, "I fought a bear for this shiny rock." Honestly, pretty effective. Scientists believe prehistoric humans used jewelry surprisingly early. Animal teeth, shell necklaces, colored stones. Basically, ancient humans figured out something very important. People love gifts. Some things never change. Today, baby, I got you Starbucks. Back then, baby, I got you wolf teeth. Same energy. And attraction in prehistoric times made a lot of sense. Strength mattered. Confidence mattered. Being useful mattered. A great hunter wasn't just attractive. He increased your odds of surviving winter. Nothing says romance like, this man can probably prevent me from being eaten. And that's true love. But let's be honest. Prehistoric relationships were definitely messy too. Because humans didn't suddenly invent jealousy in 2014. Imagine a cave woman watching her boyfriend spend too much time gathering berries with somebody else. Oh, really? You needed 3 hours to find berries? Meanwhile, the guy's sweating harder than the mammoth they hunted yesterday. Humans are emotional creatures. We always have been. Love creates attachment. Attachment creates jealousy. Jealousy creates prehistoric arguments. Probably a lot of, fine, sleep in your side of the cave tonight. And raising children together made relationships even more important. Because prehistoric babies were unbelievably difficult to keep alive. No hospitals, no medicine, no baby monitors. Just two exhausted parents trying to stop a tiny human from crawling directly into danger every 5 seconds. Honestly, some things still haven't changed. Toddlers today still act like survival is optional. But here's something fascinating. Prehistoric humans didn't just care about survival. They cared about emotions. Archaeologists discovered ancient burials where people were carefully placed with flowers, tools, or meaningful objects. That means they mourned. They remembered people. They grieved. Think about how incredible that is. Tens of thousands of years ago, humans already loved each other enough to feel heartbreak. That may have been the moment humanity truly became human. Not when we made weapons, not when we discovered fire, but when we learned how to miss someone. Modern humans are not that different from our prehistoric ancestors. Sure, we have smartphones, therapy podcasts, online dating, and refrigerators full of food. But emotionally, we're basically the same people sitting around a different fire. We still want love, friendship, family, connection, safety, belonging. We still laugh together, still fight, still fall in love, still fear being alone. The only difference is, back then people waited outside your cave. Now they leave you on red. Progress. And maybe that's the funniest thing about human history. For all our technology, for all our evolution, for all our modern sophistication, deep down we're still emotional cave people trying to find someone to trust, someone to love, and somebody willing to share snacks during hard times. Honestly, that might never change. And maybe that's a good thing, because from prehistoric campfires to modern text messages saying, "Did you get home safe?" Human connection has always been the thing keeping us alive. If you enjoyed this trip into prehistoric chaos, like and subscribe for more weird and hilarious human history. And tell me in the comments, what skill would help you survive prehistoric times? Hunting? Fire making? Running away extremely fast? Because personally, my survival strategy would be simple. Become emotionally valuable to the tribe before they realize I can't hunt.